So, Malice still exists. Hello, guys, and we'll go back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are taking a look at Malice, because for some reason, Konami still has yet to properly remove Malice, at least from the top of the metagame. Yes, this deck is still one of the best decks. I would say it's probably top 3, at the very least. It is extremely powerful, and a lot of that comes from the fact that Cyber's monsters still exist. Notably, there's one in particular that I think is the most likely. Well, it is the biggest culprit, I should say. I was going to say most likely to be banned, but let's be honest, Konami's not banning anything. But it's the biggest culprit when it comes to Cybers and Cybers decks, and that's Splash Mage. Splash Mage is really, really dumb. It makes any 2 monsters into 5. I don't know why this card is allowed, but it does. And it is. And it's very frustrating. And it's been a problem for quite some time. So, yeah, if they really wanted to hurt Cybers, there's a few other cards that they could hit, most notably Splash Mage. That's a meaningful hit, and it means that there are actual interactions that would matter, right? Imperm, Veiler, Ash Blossom, these are meaningful cards now, right, against the Cybers decks, because they're more likely to have just either less extenders, or their engine is going to be higher in terms of requirement, meaning they're not going to have as many hand traps, right? So there's that. And Splash Mage, I think, is really just the extender to end all extenders. It's just so very generic, while also being so very powerful. It's just any 2 Cybers monsters, you get to bring back a guy, and then you get to go from there. It's really dumb. And while, yes, it does lock you into Cybers monsters, and yes, that does matter, for the most part, it doesn't. Because 99% of the time, if you're playing this, you're going to be playing Cybers monsters. So, it's very silly, and no other deck really has a card like this. So, again, kind of silly. But alas, every Cybers deck gets it. Anyway, as for Malice, not much has changed. In terms of the deck list, not much has changed. The only thing that's changed is maybe some of the cards that we're playing for this specific metagame. But for the most part, this is pretty much card for card what I was previously playing, minus some tweaks. I originally wasn't playing Shifter because when Malice was the top deck, it doesn't really make sense to play Shifter. That sounds really counterintuitive because it's like, oh, but like Malice is pretty good with Shifter. The answer is no, it's just not. So if the top deck is Malice, Malice can play around Shifter and it doesn't necessarily hinder them, but it's also not going to hinder a bunch of the other decks. Right now, Shifter is really, really good. Hits Draco Tail, and it hits Orchist, and it hits Mitsu, and it hits all sorts of things. And it's really good for that nature because most other decks aren't going to be playing very well into Shifter, right? Malice isn't everywhere that has the ability to kind of play into Shifter. It's like if you activate it and the opponent's playing Draco Tail, there's like not a whole lot that they can do, right? So that's one of the things that we've changed, and that's pretty much it. As for the rest of the deck list, it's pretty much the exact same. We're playing the max amount of the Malice cards, the 3 White Rabbit, the 1 Chessy Cat, the 1 Dormouse, and the 3 March Hare, as well as we are playing the 1 Malice in Underground, as well as each one of the traps. Now again, previously we weren't playing TB11. Even with the limitations to the other names, we weren't playing TB11. The simple fact, or the point of that, was because you didn't need to, right? Any monsters got you into the combo, and you had the additional extender of Red Ransom and stuff like that. So it was very easy to just like any Malice monster does enough to get you into your full combo, and you're kind of going off from there. However, now with TB11, one, you're more susceptible to hand traps, just due to the fact that Red Ransom does no longer exist. It means you are not able to search out specifically the field spell, which then means that you aren't able to get those extenders more effectively and guarantee that you can kind of play through additional hand traps. So having something like TB11 is a nice boon in that addition, just being able to see those additional names. That's kind of it, right? You just see more names. So that kind of matters, right? Because your main purpose is to get into Whitebinder. Whitebinder kind of just does everything. So if you do that, and this gives you another set off of the Whitebinder to get an additional extender, similar to that of the Red Ransom previously, but slightly weaker. So we are playing an additional trap card, which does matter. But now we're playing all 3 of them. So hip hip hooray. As for the rest of the deck, it's pretty simple. We're just playing a bunch of hand traps. The Drolls, we're still playing Droll, even though it's not great right now. The reason for this is because it helps you to beat Max C and Fualos in particular. that's mostly what it's in here for. I'm not actually really playing it much against things like Draco Tail and what have you. Most of the top decks don't really care, except for Mitsu. And for the most part, if Mitsu does get drolled, it is frustrating. So it's nice to have that. But alas, it's not in here for that purpose as much as it is to beat this card, Maxi. Obviously, we're playing Maxi. We're also playing Fua, 3 copies of it. Even though it's not the greatest into Draco Tail, Mitsu, etc., it's still nice to have. And it's something that you can just, like, send to the graveyard to draw you cards, which is great. It doesn't send to discards, which is notable. We're also playing the Bestials. We're playing a Nibiru because of Crossout. We're playing 2 Imperms and then a 3 Impulse. One of the reasons that this deck is also very good is because it can play Impulse so effectively. Impulse is really, really strong right now. It hurts Draco Tail. It hurts Mitsu. It hurts everything, pretty much. Just everything under the sun gets hindered by Impulse. So there you go. And the rest of the cards are just additional ways to draw cards or see our cards, Sark and Allure. We also have the Bestials in here as well. And then we have the Cybers Extenders, the Attic Nisters, Backup, and Wizard. And that's pretty much it. As for the extra deck, we are playing a whole bunch of Cybers monsters. We have 4 Link 1s. By the way, just ban Link 1s. We're playing Link Spider, we're playing Almirage, we're playing Ling Garibo, and we are playing Link Decoder. Oh my gosh, I can't say this card's name. We're also playing the Cybers Wicked Kid to be able to search out the backup Attic Nister. We're playing Splash Mage, we're playing SP Little Knight, and we're playing Haggard Lizardos. Honestly, surprisingly, SP Little Knight is oftentimes used as an extender as opposed to some sort of removal or piece of an end board to end on, which is kind of funny. Then we're playing the Transcode Talker. Obviously, this is basically the card we slot in instead of Ransom. Red Ransom. So there's that. I also decided to play Heat Soul. I actually don't think this card is very useful, but you kind of have a flex spot. This could be Heat Soul, this could be Dark, this could be whatever other card that you want in this slot. So there's that. It's not great. The main reason I don't like it is because there's never really a point where I would be able to make this and have it make sense. If I'm going to make this, I'm going to make Firewall Dragon, or I'm going to make Allied Code Talker or something of that nature, and this card just doesn't really come up in those instances, so there's that. The other 2 cards are, of course, the Malice cards, the Heart Scriptor, and then, of course, the White Binder. Then we're also playing the Firewall Dragon, Axis Code Talker, and then the Allied Code Talker Attic Nister. That's it for the extra deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alrighty, so here we are going second, and Diorlanta, this is one of the best hands that we could ever produce. Fua, Impulse, Droll, as well as Marsh Hare and White Rabbit in particular, is absolutely obscene. Anyway, before we get the token from the opponent here, we're going to go for the Fua loss. It resolves. This is basically a death sentence for my opponent, because we get to play on their turn as well, so unless they have something like Impulse, we are probably off to the races. Seeing the Engraver, I think we're off to the races. This is pretty good for us. They're going to go for the Engraver here. They're also going to send an additional card to the graveyard. And then I'm going to go... They attempt to go to... they attempt to leave main phase, and I go, bop, bop, bop. I have things to do. This is the writing on the wall. They see that everything is over here, and they just concede. Honestly, this is what a lot of games ended up being. It was either I bricked due to a whole bunch of hand traps, and either the hand traps were allowed me to slow my opponent down to where I could draw into my starters or extenders or something like that, or I just, like, drew the nuts. That was kind of it. That was what a lot of games are. And, yeah, Malice is a little bit more high risk, high reward than it was previously, even though it was still that previously. So, there you go. Victory. Hip hip hooray. Alright, now let's show you what the deck is actually supposed to do going first, and then at the end, I got a very fun game for you. So, my opponent does activate the Maxi, which is why, again, we play the Droll. We gotta Droll ourselves. So we're going to draw some cards. Out comes the Dormouse. Hip hip hooray. So we're going to activate that and special summon it. That allows them to draw a card, and, of course, Droll, no. The Droll shuts that down, and now we get to basically do everything here. However, notably, Droll does cut us off of a few things and a few lines. I set the MTP here. This is just a mistake. This is why TB11 is a little bit more useful here. I could have set that. I could have also set it the GWC, both of which would have been better options. However, this is still fine. It's still a good set, and it's a good disruption during the opponent's turn. We go for the Link Decoder, and then, of course, I did end up drawing Wizard anyway. So out comes the White Binder, and we're going to activate the Link Decoder in order to reborn itself, as well as banish the Dormouse. We're banishing Dormouse here for later use with the Heart Scriptor, so that Heart Scriptor could potentially put it back. So there you go. We're going to set the TB11 here, and we're going to then activate its effect in order to special summon the Chessy Cat from the deck, so that we have that in rotation, since we don't have a way to search it or to add it to the hand or to the field via other means. So that's why we go with the TB11 there. Out comes the Splash Mage. We're going to use it to bring back the Chessy Cat and then link off into the Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker is going to reborn as well, and then we are going to use these two in order to go into the Firewall Dragon. I actually do end up putting this into the wrong zone. No, not yet. I lied. Out comes the Chessy Cat, and then I use it for the Lingaribo, and that's the mistake. I'm supposed to use the March Hare here so that I can put the Lingaribo here, and that I can put the Allied Code Talker right here, and then I can have Allied Code Talker, the White Binder, and White Binder over here, and the Transcode Talker over here, and then I'd have 4 bounces with the Firewall. 3 bounces with the Firewall. A little bit of a goof on my part, because we do end up going for the Allied Code Talker, which does give us the negate as well, and we just... Yeah, I still co-link, but I could have had 3 potential bounces, or 3 cards that I could add back to the hand. Notably, I could add back something like a Droll, I could add back something like a... I think March Hare is in here, so... A little bit of a goof on my part. Alas, my opponent is playing Dark Magician. It doesn't really matter. This was more so to show you the deck still functions the same way. You still end on pretty much the same combo, but instead of the Red Ransom, we are instead ending on that Transcode Talker. So there you go. But yeah, Firewall is still crazy, and all of the Cyber's end board is just even more insane due to the fact that Allied Code Talker exists. My opponent even has Skill Drain, which is one of, and yeah, it just doesn't matter. So, good game. Alrighty, here we are once again going first, and ooh, baby, it's time to gamble. Yeah, we have a Lure of Darkness, and we are just hoping and praying that my opponent... Okay, I'm going to activate the Crossout Designator here. It may not be the best of options, because... we may not actually have a play starter. However, it also thins the deck. So I'm going to cross out the Maxi, and hopefully we draw into something useful. You know? Well, that wasn't what I was hoping for. It's fine. We go for the March Hare. We got it, add it back, and we're A-okay here. Anyway, let's see what we can do. I just pass here. There's not really any purpose of, like, summoning anything here. They go for the Lucius, and I go for the Imperm. Because we have the Impulse, I feel okay going for the Imperm here. However, I don't know. I could have not. It's fine. Anyway, they go for the Rahu, which I promptly Ash Blossom. And no, we're not going to allow that. They do set a card and then proceed to combat because they are not... scared of evenly. I don't know. They decided to set first because they play Duel Links. Anyway, I draw a card. It matters. To be fair, again, I should have set the Impulse here because of the fact that I do have the Roach and Droll. So it's a bit of a goof on my part. I do activate the Maxi here, and yeah, out comes everything. And yeah, for some reason, I can't Impulse this. I don't know why. The ruling is the way that it is. Like, I know technically why I can't. But realistically, Verte's effect, as well as any effect that copies an effect, should be the effect that is currently taking place, which is, right now, Branded Fusion. So you would think I'd be able to Impulse it, but they were like, no, that wouldn't make sense. And I don't know how they came up with that idea, but alas, for some reason you can't Ash it, you can't Impulse it, you can't do anything. It's just like it resolves. I don't know why. I don't know how we came up with this idea, but Konami's ruling team is a bunch of criminals, so I don't know. Anyway, we did draw a Lure, which is funny, and we drew back up Agnister. That's also pretty funny. And then we also drew GWC, which is also very funny. So I'm going to draw two. What terrible draws. Anyway, March Hare is going to add itself back to hand. I'm going to fire the Fool Loss here, just because I can. I don't know. Maybe it does something here. Add back the March Hare, And from this position, we're just gonna... Oh my gosh, hello, help. Normal summon backup Agnister. That's fine. It gets impermed. It's not fine. I'm lying to you. But it's okay because we still have an additional play that we can make. We also know what this set card is. It's the Rahu, because apparently my opponent just doesn't have anything. So they set the Rahu. I'm going to go for the Splash Mage here and bring back the March Hare, because March Hare actually did end up having to banish the GWC, which is very funny. But that's fine. Out comes Whitebinder. Whitebinder now can set us the MTP, and MTP allows us to grab March Hare and to banish the Whitebinder. Whitebinder effect is going to bring itself back, and we draw a card, and I just go combat here. It's not great. In fact, it's pretty terrible, but there's not really a great line of play from that position. Like, I could have normal summoned and, like, set GWC, normal summon the March Hare, and then, like, link off from there into a link 1. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20, right? If I normal summon backup and I know that they have imperm, yeah, it's going to be better to do that. So, you know, hindsight's 20/20. Should have done that way and what have you. It's fine. We go for the imperm here on the Rahu, which is kind of funny. They go to combat. It's all good. We get to go for the March Hare, banish the Whitebinder, which then banishes a bunch of cards. We're going to add back our Red Ransom, and I'm on 300 life points. Doesn't matter. As long as they don't have, like, Sparks or something stupid like that. Actually, Sparks wouldn't do it. As long as they don't have, like, Ukazi or something like that, we're fine. So, anyway, we're going to reset the MTP, and then we're going to go for the backup Agnister. I'm going to grab the Wizard. I'm going to normal summon Chessy Cat. Chessy Cat draw 2. And at this point, the game is pretty much over. But very funny. Just, you know, dead hand. Eventually, we drew into something useful. We're going to walk over the field here by just popping a whole bunch of cards, and then just walk in with Axis Code Talker, because Axis Code Talker exists for Cybers, and it's not only a starter, but not a starter. It's not only an ender or a closer, but it's also an extender in this deck, which is very silly. Yay, Malice. Alrighty, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck's not as frustrating as it previously was. I think Red Ransom really was such a powerful card, and cutting it off is nice, because now you don't have access to, like, the really powerful extenders, especially with the Apo ban as well. It means that you don't have the ability to just, like, make a guy that prevents you from even interacting with the opponent. However, even with that being said, Malice is still frustrating. It still has one of the strongest end boards in the entire game, similar to that of, like, old U-Bell, where it's just like, oh, cool, here's a bunch of really unfun things that the game is capable of doing. Hooray. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. The Malice cards are really, really overtuned. I think that they're just extremely powerful, and that's pretty much it. The deck still lives. Wow, who's surprised, right? Another Cybers deck is not dead. Who would have guessed, right? I will say, I think that there is one hit that removes Malice from the top of the metagame, and that is just banning Whitebinder. I think this card is very clearly the linchpin for the Malice archetype specifically. So if you ban Whitebinder, the Malice archetype in particular has significantly less that it's capable of doing. Most notably, it loses a lot of access to its traps, while it still has to play them due to the fact that White Rabbit still exists. So it's just, like, not nearly as useful, and you can't, like, cycle your traps, which matters a ton. And then on top of that, it loses the banish, which also matters quite significantly. So there's that. That being said, I still think Cybers will be a top-ish deck until they actually start removing some of the problematic cards like Splash Mage or Lingaribo or literally every single Link 1. Just remove all of them. Just get them all out of there. I don't know why Link 1s exist. That's a terrible idea. But alas, they do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, that like is very much so appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.